throughout the season. So what changed and how are you able to turn the page so that the end of the season went a lot better?
Lexie Hull's journey in the WNBA has been one of immense challenges, personal growth, and transformation. Drafted 6th overall by the Indiana Fever in 2022, Hull entered the professional league with high expectations, following a standout collegiate career that saw her become a national champion with Stanford. However, her transition to the WNBA was far from smooth, and by the beginning of the 2024 season, Hull found herself struggling to find a consistent role with the Fever. Once seen as one of the brightest young stars in women's basketball, Hull had become a bench warmer, watching as teammates like Katie Lou Samuelson and Christy Wallace played ahead of her. Fans who had once been excited by her potential began to question whether she would ever live up to the hype. Despite the initial struggles, Hull's story is one of perseverance and determination. Reflecting on the early part of the season, she admitted that her playing time was much less than she had hoped. "At the beginning of the season, my playing time definitely looked different than it did at the end," she said. "Trusting that I was staying ready, putting in the work, so when I did get the minutes out on the court, I could take full advantage of them was key." Hull's mindset was clear. Keep working hard and trust the process, even when things weren't going according to plan. The transition from being a college star to a professional player in the WNBA was tough, and Hull wasn't the only one struggling. The Fever as a team faced their own challenges. Starting the season with a dismal 1-8 record, the team was mired in frustration. Fans were unhappy, and the media focused on the team's struggles, particularly with defensive lapses, coaching decisions, and a lack of chemistry. Hull, however, refused to let these challenges derail her. She stayed focused on improving her game, working on her shooting and cutting, and honing the skills that would allow her to capitalize on any opportunity that came her way. But the true turning point for Hull and the Fever came with the arrival of Caitlyn Clark, the Phenom from Iowa. Clark's arrival was nothing short of seismic for the team, not just in terms of her on-court ability, but also in the cultural shift she brought. Clark's electrifying playstyle and competitive fire were contagious, and it wasn't long before the Fever started to change. "Her competitive energy is contagious," Hull said, describing how Clark's approach pushed everyone around her to elevate their game. "If something wasn't working, Caitlyn wasn't afraid to push us to fix it." From the moment Clark joined the Fever, the atmosphere in practices shifted. They were no longer just drills, they became intense scrimmages where every player had to give their all. This newfound energy transferred to the games, and as Clark began to find open teammates, including Hull, the Fever's offense started to click. Caitlyn's ability to read defenses and deliver passes into tight windows transformed the offense, Hull explained. "Suddenly, I found myself open in spaces I hadn't been in before. It was incredible." With Clark drawing defenders, Hull, along with her teammates, had more opportunities to make plays. For Hull, the impact of Clark's leadership wasn't just about getting the ball in her hands, it was about her entire approach to the game. Clark, a true point guard, provided Hull with the support she needed to believe in herself again. "She's always there to encourage you," Hull said. "If I missed a shot, she would say, 'You've got the next one.' That confidence was huge for me, and that support worked." As the Fever started to win more games, Hull found herself playing a more significant role, with her shooting percentages improving and her confidence growing. The impact of Clark's leadership also extended beyond the court. The Fever's culture began to shift, and Hull found herself becoming part of a team that was not just improving on the court, but also building strong bonds off it. Getting to know Caitlyn off the court was just as important, Hull shared. "Connections off the court play a huge role in success on the court." As the Fever began to gel, Hull felt more at ease and was able to take advantage of the opportunities presented to her. Her development mirrored the team's progression as they began to shift from struggling contenders to a cohesive unit. The Fever's rise to success wasn't just a result of Clark's presence, though. Hull's transformation into a key player was a testament to her work ethic and the trust she placed in the process. It was about putting in the work, staying focused, and trusting that things would turn around, Hull said. With the Olympic break providing a full month of practice, Hull focused intensely on improving her shooting consistency. During the break, our coaches would put up our shooting percentages every day after practice, whether it was for 2s or 3s, she said. It was a challenge, but it really helped me improve and gave me the confidence I needed. By the second half of the season, Hull was no longer just a bench player, she was an integral part of the Fever's offense. Her hard work paid off as her shooting improved, and she began to make key plays in crucial moments. The numbers don't lie, Hull said, reflecting on her improvement. In my first 2 years, I was so upset because I was putting in so much work but wasn't seeing the results. But by the end of this season, I was much more efficient. With Clark drawing defenders and creating space, Hull was able to capitalize on the opportunities that came her way. Her success wasn't just individual, it was a collective effort that pushed the Fever forward. As the Fever started winning games, the atmosphere in the locker room changed. Hull recalled how, despite all the external pressures and the growing expectations, the team remained united. We never turned on each other, Hull shared. That mindset, that unity, that's what got us through the tough times. Fans who had once been disheartened by the Fever's poor performance began to rally behind the team. The Fever were suddenly playing in sold-out arenas, and the buzz surrounding the team reached new heights. Social media platforms flooded with messages of support, and the Fever, once a struggling team, had become playoff contenders. For Hull, the surge in support from fans was both humbling and motivating. Walking through the grocery store in Indianapolis and getting fist bumps from people saying, "Go Fever," it's such a cool environment, Hull said. It shows how dedicated the fans are. But with the increased attention came challenges. Hull and her teammates had to navigate the pressures of fame, with social media offering both praise and criticism in equal measure. Hull admitted that while it was motivating to receive positive feedback, it was also tough not to get caught up in the negative comments. It's easy to say, "Don't read it," but everybody does, she said. The important thing is having a strong support system to keep you grounded. Through all the ups and downs, Hull remained focused on her team and their collective goals. At the end of the day, we're playing for something bigger than ourselves, she said. It's not just about basketball. It's about what we represent as a team and what we're trying to build here. With Clark leading the charge and Hull playing at the top of her game, the Fever entered the playoffs with renewed confidence. The team had not just transformed their season, they had reshaped their identity. The Fever's rise wasn't just about their on-court performance. It was a statement about resilience, teamwork, and the power of leadership. With Clark's guidance and Hull's determination, the Fever showed that they were no longer just a team to watch. They were a force to be reckoned with. As Hull put it, we're not just playing for ourselves. We're playing for something bigger. The future is bright for the Indiana Fever, and with players like Hull, Clark, and a talented roster around them, the sky is the limit for what they can achieve. The team's success story is just beginning, and their journey promises to inspire for years to come.